Welcome back, everybody. Today's a new day. I went and got it jacked up, got the tires off so we can check out the undercarriage and the brakes. So far it looks like an old car. Nothing too concerning under here. That turns no problem. Holy moly. I might have to check the bearings on this side. Those brake line hoses actually look pretty good. Anticipating that those were going to be hard and crunchy and bad, I ordered a couple for the front and then another one in the rear. Looks like the shock's a little dark colored. Yeah, you can't see under there. So it looks like the shock is leaked out its oil. Might want to get a couple of those coming. Maybe clean up the dirt. I need to pressure washer under here really good. It's actually, for the most part, looks pretty good. There's not rust or anything like that. So let's check out over here. Now, oh, my light doesn't go that far. Hang on. Previous owner said brake issues. They thought the rear brakes had issues. This one is all kinds of goopy, and my guess is that wheel cylinder is leaking because there was absolutely no fluid in the reservoir. It was bone dry. Aside from that, no real rusty looking stuff under here. One thing about this car I noticed compared to my other one that I got, the other one has 4 leaf springs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaf springs. And like I mentioned earlier, where the shock mounts up there and down here on the bottom, there's this 2-inch extendo kit for the shock. I don't know if that's an original thing. These shocks look, or the springs look like they're original shocks, springs. God, I'm on a roll today. And the hangers that you can't see are not super long. They're just regular little guys. So where the car sits in the front tire sits pretty close to the level with that fender. And if you've noticed before and earlier, the back tire is right about here in this when it's on. Well, here, let's show you. Let's see what we're looking at. I'll just set it on there real quick. BF Goodrich studded snow tires. I'm guessing these tires are old enough that they don't really have a date code on them. 7 is the last digit, or 502. Maybe that's the date code. May of 2002. These tires were new. Could be. So I've got the jack. Okay, the jack's under the pumpkin, so this is ride height. And there's that much space. So what I was thinking, to make this look a little bit better on that rear ride height versus the front, is what if I got a lowering block, 2-inch lowering block, put between the spring and the axle. That would put the rear tire almost, yeah. So right there we're at about 3. So that would put it about 1 inch away as opposed to almost 3 inches away. It'd lower the back of the car down a little bit so it wouldn't have that lifted in the back end 80s stance to it. That being said, I found a set of wheels for cheap that have decent-ish tires on them. Still 14-inch, I think, if I remember correctly. Some aluminum wheels, but they look like 80s, straight out of the 80s. So I think I'll do that. Put some lowering blocks in here and get that down. Yeah, good. Oh yeah, and the other thing, previous owner said it might need a gas tank. So got this handy dandy gas tanker checker. Oh my gosh. So, as I was saying, handy dandy gas tank checker. So we'll okay. Oh, good night. Ooh, she's rusty. Hopefully, no, I'm not going to say it. So let's turn this bad boy on. Boom. And then, let's see. It's got a light on the tip. I said it's got a light on the tip. Oh, there it is. So we'll go to the brightest. And it looks like that curves down straight away. So we will fish her in there. Ooh. Ooh. We're not even in the tank yet. See if you can see that. No, there's so much crap in here. Look at it's all over my tip of my thing. Let's see. Let's bring you over here and see what you can see. Still, again, it has got crap. It's can't even see the camera. Look at the end of that, it's all rusty. I'm going to say this is a rusty gas tank. Oh, look at that. Disgusting. And on the way out, ooh, look at all that rust. So, what we will do is, like we did with the Supra, when we had that, drop the tank, fill it full of vinegar, and like screws, and shake it up. Clean that out. I priced a new gas tank just for fun. It's like $450. So these are either not that common and need gas tanks, or people think they're made out of gold. So anyway, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll fill up the tank, I'll drop the tank, fill it up with vinegar. And then I bought this. Stick it in the hole, and do some scrubbing. Try to get all that crap out of there. Because I was kind of anticipating this. I was hoping I didn't need to replace the tank. Still hoping I don't need to replace the tank. That would suck to have to get all that, do all that cleaning and then find out the tank has got a bunch of holes in it or something. It doesn't look like it does. It looks pretty solid. Here, let's double check. Yeah, it actually looks pretty solid. It's a little dark right here from the exhaust that's not connected. The muffler is... Oh, there it is. There, now you can see it. Muffler is Bluetooth. That's where the exhaust pipe stops. Yeah, so that shock's missing. That shock is leaky, so we'll just order some new shocks. Brake stuff in mind, I ordered 2 wheel cylinders, and I ordered that rubber line that you can't see back there, just because. Other than that, it doesn't look bad. I noticed, remember in the trunk there's the hole? Let's look at that. Let's fumble around over to here. And that's where that shock mounts. Of course you can't see it. I need light. Let me get a light. But yeah, it looks like that cross member may have broke on this side. So here we are under the car. There's kind of a lot going on now that I've got some light on the subject. I don't know where my little light is, so sorry for the disaster I got going on. That side actually looks really good. Where that shock mounts and everything. This one looks like it's broken and fixed and broken and fixed. There's a weld here. Wow, look at that. So it was welded here at one point. That is now not connected to the frame rail anymore. The spot weld right there came unhooked. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little fabricating and such to see if I can figure something out there. I wonder what would happen. I wonder if hitting all the jumps does that, or if, you know, back in the day, nobody had trucks. Everybody drove cars and used cars as their trucks. And I wonder if this was a truck. Yeah, oh goodness. Look at the dirt built up on the back of that backing plate. That one's been leaking for a while. That one over there is dry. You can't tell because the light's shining right in your face. But that one's dry. Yeah. I'm kind of impressed by the little lift kit they've got for the shocks right there. They've even got a rubber mount, because a rubber mount goes between the shock, or from the shock where that mounts, and they put a rubber mount there too. So yeah, I don't know, maybe this had some upgraded suspension in it from the factory, and then they carried all the weight and everything broke. We'll have to look into that. But yeah, again, the gas tank got some gravel road damage there. Other than that, not too terribly bad. It's got a little dinger here, and up there I'm guessing that's from the muffler swinging around banging on stuff. And something else I gotta do is the roll pan back here. A little floppy on both sides. Let's see. Quarter panel doesn't look too bad. It's pretty solid. It's not all rusty. Let's move to the floor. So, rocker panels look good. All the way down they look pretty solid. This is the floor on the driver's side back. This is the floor mat, that rubber floor mat. So we'll have to figure out. Ooh, and it looks like there's a seam right there, so that feels pretty solid. So maybe we can do something with this lip here and maybe build something. I don't know, we'll see. This cute little floor support. I don't know that it's actually doing anything. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see, what else? Floor on the passenger side is also crunchy, not as bad, but it's got some rusty chunks in it. Rocker panel on that side looks pretty good. Let's scoot up here a little ways. Front part of the subframe looks good. Transmission is seeping some transmission type fluid. The joints feel tightish. Lots of weeds. The floor up here also looks pretty good. Rocker panels all the way up here. Subframe. Yeah. Lots of grease too. Self-lubricating. I think I said that once. Self-lubricating. All kinds of crap. So we'll clean up some of this stuff. And there's that other brake cable that feels actually pretty soft. I'll change it anyway. It'll be worth it to change it. If I'm going to be driving this thing, my plan is when I get it going, this will be my daily. Drive it around everywhere. With me though, even cars I like don't stick around, so if I'm going to fix stuff on this, I would like to fix it so it's safe. If I fix it for me, then it's good enough, but if I fix it for a real person someday, it'll make it safe. Ooh, the emergency brake cable is all intact. Fancy. So, alright, let's get a look at these brakes. Let's start with the one that's our trouble side. Spider egg. I learned a trick from Pole Barn Garage. It'd be terrible if I burn my garage down. Whew, stinky. Alright, this side turns great. I gotta show you what happened to the other side. It was making some metallic grindy sounds. That little bit that I turned the wheel, the hub started to just come off. Oh look, there's a spring and that's part of the adjuster. So let's start with this side and see what this one says. Oh, that was hanging on by a thread. Ooh, those drums are rough. Very grooved. Here's our brake. This is our adjuster, or our emergency brake thing. This little cable. Where's... I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Oh, I bet that's the... Where's the rest of the adjuster? So there's the adjuster that this one end goes on here, and then there's a little gear with teeth, and then the other end here, and it threads. Well, as these adjust out, this adjusts, it's self-adjusting. And I'm guessing this is the piece that goes in here somewhere. However, there's a large chunk of something that's missing. Well, let me take that other one off and I'll show you what's missing. Let me take you back over there real quick. All right. This brake has had issues for a while. So, what fell out of that side is, yep, it's going to be that thing that's all bent up now. This from that gear all the way to this is missing. It's not even in there. I can't see it unless it's stuck up on top. That other pieces, there's little from the gear forward. And actually, the pad I think is missing completely on this. Well, there's a little bit there. Most of the pad is missing. It stops. There's a rivet holes where the pad used to be held on. And there's a little bit of pad here and a little bit of pad here. The rest is goop. So, I'm going to have to order some hardware and some drums and at this point I'm almost considering, hey, we have an Explorer sitting out in the yard. What would it take to swap that rear end into here? I don't know. We'll see. Let me do some parts researching on that. So yeah, let's take a check at the front ones. Ooh, I bet these ones I got to take the hub apart. I bet the hub has to come apart, bearing. I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, it's going to have to. Stand by one. So let's start taking this apart, see what we find. Of course. I gotta get some tools. Should have thought of that. Tools acquired. Pull out this cotter pin, cotter key, cotter, whatever you call it. Whatever you call it. And then slide. There we go. Slide that off. Unthread the nut. Also should have grabbed some paper towels. That wasn't on very tight. I'm going to clean this off and look at it, but looks like it has some rust pitting on those bearings. Feels kind of sticky too. And I know you can't see it. But inside the bearing in there, in that little crack, almost looks like it's dry and rust colored. Okay, so here's a thought. I put some fluid in the reservoir and it bubbled and bubbled and bubbled, and then randomly a couple times yesterday and then a couple times this morning I kind of pumped it and bubbles came out, fluid went in, and eventually bubbles quit coming out and it was just fluid, and it felt like there was a little, like before it was like no pedal to the floor. Now there was a little resistance of something. So I'm curious if we built up just enough pressure that it pushed pressure in, and now this line that doesn't look bad is now closed off, so it's allowing fluid in, but it's not letting it out. And our brakes are stiff because of it. There should be. There it is. Is it the right way? Nope. There we go. There we go. So tweak down, turn down the adjuster. Another possibility is over time the pad wears and wears and wears on the drum, and then there's a lip that develops on the inside, because inside it wears down, so the pad sits inside that groove, and then there's a big, where it originally was, there's now a lip there that the shoes catch on. But I don't know if that's the case, because it does move a little bit. Let me get a bigger pry bar. Use that cute little guy. Seen these fancy tools that people put on, and it's basically a ratchet strap. It's got two big claws, and it hooks onto the back of the drum. It's not a ratchet strap, that's something else. But it's a puller. It's a giant puller. It pushes on your spindle right here, and then you twist it, and it pulls the drum off. Usually when that gets used, hardware gets damaged. There we go. Whew. Speaking of damaged hardware, here's a spring that I'm guessing hooks on there and over here. And you can see this drum is very grooved up as well. And that could also have been what we were catching on. The grooves. You can see the fresh shoe material here that got scraped as those came off. Greasy bearing in there. Yeah. All right. There we go. That hooks there. And the spring that's broken also hooks there. Something down here. Let me adjust you so you can see what I'm talking about. Or yeah, it's pretty snug there if that was it. Maybe that's it. Maybe the other side will be not broken and we can see what we're working with. But the shoes are actually pretty thick. Pretty decent-ish. This one is like, and you can see the word still. So that tells me these could potentially be newish. But the way they were wearing, if they drove this car as long as they did with the back brakes not working, all the work was being done by the front brakes. So let's move over to the passenger side. So, passenger side, I want to show you this, it's kind of neat. You can see it in there. It's the Ford logo. There it is. And then if you turn it a little bit, it says November 9th of 1970. So original equipment drums here. It's pretty neat. So let's get this off and you gotta take it apart first, buddy. Come on. Come on. And I know back in the olden days, back when this car was around, back when my grandpa was younger, stuff like that. So yeah, a long time ago. Oh, there's my alarm. I know they a regular maintenance on vehicles was repacking wheel bearings. My grandpa was always talking about, oh, we gotta get these wheel bearings repacked. We're going on a road trip. This side feels better than the driver's side did. Feels smoother. It's a Timken bearing. I believe that's the good brand. Let's see if this drum will pop off. Easier than that side. Nope. Ouch. Put your fingers in there. Come on now. I bet I'm scraping off shoe material like I did on the other side. Because it gets so far and then stops. The one that came off the easiest was the broken one. Getting my workout in today. How come you didn't loosen it like you did the other one? Because I thought it would just pop right off. Because I'm a dummy. And now my stubbornness has got me this far. Alright. Very grooved. Just like the other side. Yep. This one looks complete, which is good. So you can see like this. I don't know if you can see it, but the pad is grooved to match the grooves in the rotor drum. So we had to fight through those, which didn't help. But yeah, those are pretty intense grooves there. This side, actually this side looks like it's a brand new pad still. It's got one groove right in the center, which I'm guessing is, maybe it's not brand new, but maybe that's how they come new, so it's a wear indicator. But this is the spring that was broken on that other side. And that grease looks way clean and fresh. So I'm wondering if this side wasn't redone before that side. Or they were both done and this side just didn't wear as fast as that side. But yeah, that grease looks nice and brown and grease colored and not black. So, give me a minute to, I'm going to explore some options and see what our plan is and see if we're going to just fix this or upgrade. We're finally back with all the parts. It's been a minute since I've been out here recording. I had to order everything separately, the drums, the shoes, the hardware, the hoses, the wheel cylinders. Finally I have everything. So we'll give this a shot and see if we can get some brakes fixed on this old girl. Remind me to look at that. I'll just look at it now. Nope. Okay. Okay, it's all right. It looked like there was a hole in the metal gas or the metal brake line that goes from the T to this wheel cylinder. And I was going to be sad a little bit because, well, I want to get this done. So, drum brakes. Not a lot of people do drum brakes anymore because everything is disc brakes. Also, finding all the parts for these drum brakes, because they're the small 4-lug wheels, nobody runs these anymore. They convert it to the 5-lug, or they throw the Explorer 8.8 in the rear end with discs, and do a front disc conversion and blah blah blah. So finding the hardware to do an original-ish fix, it was rather time-consuming. Not one company had a kit. If I had the little bit bigger 5-lug rear end, Parts Geek had it. However, Parts Geek is fun. Be 1000% sure you are ordering the correct part. They say, warning, call us, warning, message us. I did both. And they said, yeah, that should fit. I got it, and it didn't fit. It was the 5-lug stuff, not the 4-lug. Because their description didn't say 5-lug or 4-lug. So anyway, I went to return it, and they charge a restocking fee, even though it's their fault. You have to pay shipping, even though it's their fault. Yeah, it probably would have been better to just keep it and try to sell it than to send it back. But anyway, moving on. So, drum brakes. This tool is imperative. Makes things so much easier. And I will show you why in a moment. Also, this tool. If you're doing drum brakes, at the time I bought these, I was doing a lot of drum brakes. So, yeah, these save time and it makes it easier and all this fun stuff. It's got this hole with this knot on here that you put on here. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You want to put that spring back on, it's got a notch right here in this rod. Say this is your last spring, it's all fixed, it's all going back together. Put that notch on that little nub right there. Pry the old girl up, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And let me line that up better. Get. Okay. Oh, it's not on there all the way. But yeah, anyway. That makes it so much easier doing brakes with this tool. You can just pop everything off like it's not there. This little guy is for these springs. There's this pin in the center that goes all the way through. Holy caked on mess. I can't even feel it. But you take this and you just turn it, and then this spring comes off. This little cap comes off, and see how it's slotted? The pin that comes through here is also slotted. But yes, these tools make a world of difference when you're doing drum brakes. Now, a couple ways I've seen drum brakes done. Take both sides off, you take a picture of one side and do the other side because they're kind of a carbon copy. The other way is when you take springs off, you put them where they belong. We know where those go, so those are fine. They go down here in these pins. But those springs come from up here and go up here. So if you lay them out on the floor in the order that they came off of the brake, oh yeah, this thing fell off. And that wrapped around here. It went on the hole, or went on the knob there. This hook hooked on the back of this little thing you can't see. That little thing right there. And there's actually a spring on there. So, let's see. Let's make sure you guys can see. Okay. So, we're loose. Custom-made screwdriver. 4 brakes. Oh, don't stab yourself. Oh, it broke. So that spring just broke. It snapped. I'm guessing this is all original equipment. That's why it's falling apart such. Also, the reason I bought a replacement spring kit, and the springs are color coded. It's hard to see, but that's got a color. This one looks like it's white-ish. And oh good, it's not in that spray. It's seriously. But yeah, it's got new springs of this. It's got new the little pins. It's got new top hats. Actually, I believe the green one, I believe this green one in here is that one. So we'll get this apart and we'll look at it a little bit closer, but yeah, that spring hooked on here to hold it, and this cable hooked on this side to keep pressure. And that's your parking brake adjustment. This is your brake adjuster. As your brakes wear, this works its way out, and that little stair stepper moves this out. So there's one, and there's one. And dear sweet goodness, I can't see nothing. And this is the parking brake, has to do with the parking brake also. Normally, what I would have done is sprayed the crap out of this with brake cleaner, but I forgot to pick some up, so I've got like 2/3 of the can left, so I need to be gentle with what I use. Because if I run out, when I run out, I'm going to have to either go to the store or try to do this without. So pull them pins off and just, yeah, this, I hope that's not the axle seal leaking that was causing this. Because if it was, I did not get those. Let's see. Fancy screwdriver also doubles as a scraper. There's also an access point, a rubber boot. There's a couple new rubber boots that come in this kit too. Oh, that is so thick. This thing has been leaking so long, it probably started leaking in, let's see, this is in 1972 is when it started leaking. Yeah, the gunk on the back of this backing plate is just, well, you can see, thick. I should check and see if there's any fluid in that rear diff. It doesn't. It's got a little buildup on it under there, but yeah, it's got quite a bit of buildup. I wonder if that was leaking there. I'll check that fluid too when I'm under there with that brake line. Non-posi rear end. Pretty sure anyway, I can't tell. Alright, I'll do some more cleaning up on this, and I'll get a bigger scraper, some napkins, but yeah, that's how easy brakes are to come apart. They actually go together that easy too. Just, they make some people nervous. And this is the wheel cylinder. I'm going to pull that out eventually. I'm going to clean this up a little bit and then pull that out. Clean up back here. Pull that out and look at it. Pop those ends off and see what they look like in there. Using my non-approved line wrench, what I do is this guy, I've been spraying some PB Blaster on there, hoping these will loosen up. You don't want the line to spin, so you work it back and forth a little bit. That helps it thread out of there. And this actually is going quite well. I'd like to have some there. So that threaded out quite nicely. Now there's the two bolts here. Hold the that broke free pretty loose too. Broke free pretty easy. Those hold the cylinder, the slave cylinder, and the wheel cylinder. I had to take a break for a minute. My 2/3 can of brake cleaner that I was using, yeah, I used up the entire can of brake cleaner on this one side. So I had to stop and I ran and got a couple more cans of brake cleaner and wandered through the Hot Wheels section. Now this should just pop right out. I mean, pop right out. There we go. Now, clean this up a little more. Blech. Goop. Also what I did is, under this, there's an ice cream bucket. All the brake parts that I'm keeping, that I have to reuse, are in there. Because then I'll clean those up. And yep, we're officially out. Also, do not get brake cleaner in your eyes. I have a really bad habit of, when stuff is close up like this, I can see way better without my glasses. And I was spraying something the other day, and a little drip. It was like real-time slow motion. It was weird. The drip like flew up, and I saw it coming, and bloop, right in my eyeball. And boy, did that sting. Okay, so the next step is to open the plastic bag. The next step is the new cylinder. When you put it back in, and you get it, come on, get in there. Hold on, I might have to take the bleeder screw out. Of course, it's a different size than the originals. Oh, breaking that bleeder screw loose was tighter than breaking the lines and everything loose. Alright, so I'll get that in there carefully and then put that back in so I don't get a bunch of crap in there. Now, very important when you're putting a master or a wheel cylinder in, it also goes for brake calipers. Make sure the bleeder screw is above where the line goes in, so it bleeds properly. If you put the line up here and the bleeder down here, it is never going to bleed because the bubbles float up. Because this one will fit on the other side and the other one will fit on this side, but they'll be upside down and they will not bleed. You will have squishy or no brakes. So what I'm going to do, snug those up, and then I'll tighten these guys up. You don't have to torque the snot out of them. You don't want to break your bolt off in your new wheel cylinder, because that'll just open a whole new can of worms. Okay. We're going to call that good. Now, I kind of tweaked this line. So, there's a little red stopper in there. So crap doesn't fill up in there. Doesn't get stuff in the... So good. Don't get too crazy. There we go. Get it finger started first. You don't want to cross thread that. Because again, if you cross thread the wheel cylinder, you're replacing that. If you cross thread this, you're now cutting the line and building a new line. So just get her in there finger tight, and then after it's finger tight, then you can wrench on it. Okay, I think that'll be all right. And then just for now, yeah, I'll tighten that up for now, because I'm pretty sure there's no fluid in here. It all leaked out. But also I'm going to replace that rubber line. So, all right, one cylinder down, and now we can start putting everything back together. Let's get you guys out here. Whoa! Next, we will do this line. That was crunchy. Okay. Now, slip this guy out of here. Dun 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 dun. Wiggles right out of there. Oh. Goes down to the T. Alright, that one's loose, that one's loose. We'll try, nope, not an 11/16. 3/4, because it's an old American car. It's not metric. Now, real quick, I can't see nothing. So I'm hoping I didn't knock any crap down in there. That'd be fun. Okay. So, the axle tube being curved, this piece has, one side is flat and then the other side does have a little curve to it where it sits right on that spot. So it sits nice and flush. And then this is hollow. Goes all the way through. That's the vent for the rear axle. If those plug up, your axle gets hot, the fluid gets hot, the air gets hot, there's nowhere for that hot air expanding to go, and it blows out your axle seals and your pinion seal. So always make sure you have a tube, a vent tube, and always make sure that it's clear. Alright, I think she's tight. And then these brake lines will I can't even see that other side, so I don't know what's going on over there. And so that one started. Once I could kind of see what I was doing. Okay. That one's good. I feel like that line needs just a tiny bump. To tweak it the correct way. Ow. Just had to get it to line up. All right, good, good. Now, here, there it is. Good shot of my arm there, huh? Mechanicking is fun. I love mechanicking. Perfect. So, in theory, that should be good for another 50, 60 years. Let me get you guys out of here. Hang on. Hang on. Ugh. Let's take a peek inside of here. This is that old wheel cylinder. Ooh. Gross. I don't think that's supposed to be in there. That makes me nervous for the front ones. I wonder what those look like. Unless those ones are okay-ish, because they've actually been kind of working compared to these back ones that have not. Oh, here, let me make some more mess and a noise. Hang on. So, the new drum. Huh. Got the springs in, new springs, emergency brake, blah blah blah. She's good to go. I repeat, good to go. Now, in theory, this should work. And when you put this on, you want a little bit of drag, just a tiny bit of drag, so your brakes are adjusted correctly. And then once you start, once you start hitting the brakes and using the brakes, that self-adjuster will start adjusting like it should. And I got to get a hose on, I don't know if you can see it. I got to get a hose on that, pop it on there and just run it up here, tuck up so my rear end's got some, so I've got a vent for my rear end. Haha. All right. We'll bust out the other 4. Those will be just the same as this. Those front ones will be way cleaner. But yeah, we'll get these done and hopefully it breaks on this soon.